Hello everyone, Tutu Mora here with the Y, bringing you tools to feel well in your body, mind, and spirit. Today we're talking about generalized lower back pain, which affects so many people and can make it really challenging to do just the simple, especially summertime activities that we really love. Even if that means just standing and safely socializing with your friends, standing for long periods of time can aggravate that generalized lower back pain. You might even feel it all the way down in your feet as well. So today we're going to be going over some supportive stretches that will help you either before or after you are participating in these just general activities that you love, or just going about your day. They can be really helpful, just opening up those spaces within the low back and the pelvis to create a more supportive and stable foundation upon which you can just move through the rest of your day. So all you're gonna need is a soft surface to lay down on. I wouldn't recommend a bed because it's gonna give you a little bit too much give. So I would recommend either a padded rug if you've got one on the floor, or a workout mat, which is what I'm using here. So let's go ahead and lay down. We're gonna start on our back with our knees bent. Now I want you to just bring your awareness to your pelvis here. Awareness on how it's resting naturally into the mat. And for the sake of today, we're going to call that your neutral pelvis. And so just letting yourself find a little heaviness, softness into the mat here. We're going to take what's called a pelvic curl. Now all that means is we're going to tilt that pelvis so it feels like you're tucking your tail between your legs. So little tilt, and then we're going to bring that back to neutral. Now we're going to pass neutral and take that into a little pelvic extension where it feels like you're imprinting your tailbone into the mat. And then we'll take that back to neutral. Let's take that again into our curl, into neutral, into our extension. So it'll feel like you're just rocking all the way from the top of your hip bones to the very bottom of your sit bones. Now taking that back and forth and just breathing normally. Now notice that I am not creating large movements with this. It's pretty small movement. And if you notice that the rest of your body is moving, if it's moving in a very exaggerated way, that doesn't need to happen. It doesn't need to be that big, because if the rest of your body is moving, that means that there's some stuckness in that low back area, and the rest of your body is compensating for that. So if you notice the rest of your body is moving, make the movement a little smaller. See if you can isolate it to that pelvis, to that low back. Just find that pelvic extension, pelvic curl, taking it back and forth between those two spaces. One more time to each side, or to each space, that curl and that extension. And returning back to neutral. So here in neutral now, we've taken it kind of to the top of the pelvis or the low back. The pelvis is kind of the front of that low back space. We've taken it to the bottom, to that tailbone. And now we're going to take it from side to side. So what that will feel like, if you bring your awareness to your back pants pockets, it'll feel like you're just sinking one back pants pocket a little deeper into the mat, bringing yourself back to center, and then sinking that other side. So again, really small movements. If these are my back pants pockets, I'm just lowering one a little bit, bringing it back, lowering the other a little bit, and bringing it back. And let's take that just here gently from side to side. Now we're doing this to encourage not only a little more opening through that sacrum, but also through the hips. So as you take this from side to side, I want you just to take a deep breath into each space. So nice and deeply, directing that breath down into that back pants pocket you're sinking into. Bringing it back, same thing to the other side. One more time to each side. Using your breath as a tool to just create a little more space. Now back to center. We've got our 4 quadrants of the pelvis here, okay? So we're gonna sink into all 4 of those at different times. We're gonna go around in a circle like your pelvis is a clock face. So we're gonna start in your curl at our 12 o'clock spot. So find that curl, let the rest of your body be soft. Then let's sink into 3 o'clock. So I'm moving into my left back pants pocket. Let's sink into 6 o'clock, imprinting our tailbone into the mat, moving into 9 o'clock, sinking into that right back pants pocket. And then back into our curl into 12 o'clock. Let's take that around. Again, moving smoothly through each of these spaces and letting the rest of the body just find some stillness. So if you are experiencing a really tight low back, as you're doing this, you might notice your shoulders are trying to move, your knees are trying to move around. But notice that the rest of my body is staying pretty still. Let's reverse directions here. So from our 12 o'clock pelvic curl, let's sink into that 9 o'clock right back pants pocket and take it around. Just like we were doing in that other direction. And if you encounter a spot that feels pretty sticky, take your breath there. Pause, take your time. Fill that space with breath to create some more space in that area. Let's take 2 more times around. And then let's arrive back at your neutral, normal pelvis here. Let's again, just take that pelvic curl and notice how that might feel a little looser than it did when we first started. Pausing back at neutral. I'm gonna have you stretch that left leg out all the way long. We're gonna just hug that other leg in. Breathing into this. And if it feels supportive, to open that leg out to the side, to take it across the body in a little twist. Let yourself take that. Let your shoulders stay heavy on the mat. Find your breath. And let's again take that out and across the body. Bring that foot back down to the mat. Now let's switch sides, making that transition easy so you don't put any strain on your back. And again, let's hug that leg in. Open that leg out if that feels supportive. So use this as an opportunity just to explore the range of motion that you have, how it feels to move this space. You know, when we're experiencing low back pain, it can be really easy to tense up, feel really nervous about making movements through that space, but movement is sometimes a really supportive tool just to let your body relax around what's happening, because tension can often make the problem worse. Hugging that leg back to center here, bringing both feet down. Now, we're gonna take just a gentle little side to side motion here, listening to that back, just taking it gently within the range that feels good for you. One more time to each side. Using your breath. So nice deep breaths as you stretch a space, fill that space with your breath. Now, last thing we'll do here is let's bring those arms up, bending at the elbow. We're gonna take a little scoop up from the back of the shoulder blade and set it back down. Same thing to the other side, as if you're just sending that elbow tip up towards the ceiling. Now, as you're doing this, what is your pelvis doing? Notice how my pelvis is staying really still. A tight low back might mean that as you take this, you might try to move your pelvis along with you. But we want to keep stillness through the rest of the body. Now, as you take this next one, let's add in a little rotation, only to the extent that you can keep the rest of your body still in space. So just a little movement here, taking it gently, depending on how you're feeling today. And again, as you find a stretch, fill that space with your breath. Let's pause back at center here. Go ahead and let your arms rest at your sides, and let's come back to our little pelvic curl here, a pelvic tilt. Noticing how that's feeling from the start of the session today. Nice. Now, go ahead and carefully roll to the side, which is always a smart way to get on up when you're experiencing low back pain. And I would invite you to stand up, take a couple steps around the room here and see how you feel. How does it feel to move around after creating that space within the low back? So this can be a really gentle way because it can be a little, there's a lot of apprehension in moving when you're experiencing tender low back, right? So this can be a gentle way to warm up, create a little space and movement so that you can move into some bigger movements like taking a walk, moving through an exercise practice, or whatever kind of your day opens up to. But I hope you found this helpful and, a really gentle and supportive way to interact with your current experience in your back today. So take care. I'll see you back here next time on the YS YouTube channel.